listen to reason? Will you open your eyes?
Ryan, you know anything about writing any computer code software? You know?
No, not really.
Okay. Let me give you just a quick, abstract, not perfect thing. Let's say that you were writing this, and one of the things that you do when you're writing code is that you can have a bunch of predefined constants at the beginning. And you may have a number of functions that then reference those constants at different times. And the constants could be anything from, x equals 3 to the number of apples in this pile is 10 to the speed of light in a vacuum, etc. And different functions will reference different ones of those to determine when I throw this apple, relative to the speed of light, etc. You're correct that having a false constant in your program is not necessarily going to affect every one of those functions. But if it's used anywhere in any one of those functions, then it can produce a sort of cascade of errors because functions become interdependent. Mm-hmm. For you to sit there, this is the only reason that I keep harping on this. The problem is that you think that believing something that feels good, that may ultimately be false, doesn't have any negative consequences.
No. I completely disagree with that. Completely disagree with what? The things that I just reiterated that you had previously said? Nothing negative. No, I said there are few exceptions where believing something false may have no negative effects on your life and may even have positive effects.
Name two.
If you believe in that there's some afterlife when you die, not necessarily anything specific, but if you believe in some afterlife, when you're on your deathbed, you might be a little more happy than if you believed that there was no afterlife. That's one small example.
Here's the thing. You can pick any false belief and construct a scenario in which it produces a positive effect. Heroin makes people feel really good for a while. Believing that there's an afterlife may make you a little more peaceful on your deathbed. My question is, that's not the only effect that belief has. First of all, every false belief allows you the predisposition to accept more false beliefs. But we don't have to go near the slippery slope. My thing is the belief in an afterlife is fundamentally immoral because it cheapens this life. My belief that when I'm dead puts me in a position where I need to live right and do things right the first time. Where if I don't treat somebody right, I don't get a second chance in an afterlife to make up for it. I need to make amends for it now. And dealing with reality on those terms that are based on truth and the best conclusions we can make based on the best evidence available is demonstrably a better way to live. Having your internal worldview more consistent with reality is the key. Not usually, always. Yeah. Because we're talking about decision making. If I'm going to make decisions that affect what I do in reality, then the more consistent my internal view of reality is with actual reality, the better. And the more divergent my internal view is from reality, the worse.
And let's be honest, Ryan, the only examples you're able to come up with these exceptions that you want to exist are simple, like, emotional placebo effects. Oh, but it would make a person feel better to entertain this belief for a little while. Sure. Whereas, listen to what Matt's describing. Matt's describing things that have lifetime consequences in terms of how you interact with your community, with one another, with people in your lives, how you behave, how you take responsibility for your actions and the things that you do. If something you do ends up causing harm, you have to deal with that. You have to take that responsibility now. All of these things, build upon one another. And you keep wanting to say, yes, well, that's only the case usually, but the only examples that you're able to give us don't seem to be terribly meaningful.
99.999% of the time.
Okay, and if you're only concerned about being 99% accurate in your view of reality, well, that's your problem.
Yeah.
Some of us would prefer to get as close to 100 as possible. And the way to do that is to care whether or not your beliefs are true, and to never say, I'm okay with making an exception for this one because it feels good.
Like the saying, ignorance is bliss.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss.
But see, there you go.
I agree.
There you go. That's the only example you're able to come up with is that, it'll put a little doe-eyed, empty-headed smile on a person's face to believe something that's false. It's just the emotional appeal you're defending this with. You have really nothing else to defend it with. And since you, again, admit, well, okay, maybe it's 99.999999, then why do you really care about the 0.000001? I mean, just go ahead and accept the common sense that, yes, having a worldview that's consistent with reality is best. In all cases, you know, as much as, you know, to where whatever exceptions might exist are so minute as to not make a difference. And therefore really shouldn't be thought of as existing. I mean...
I don't know what else to tell you, Ryan, and
yeah.
we gone for like 25 minutes or so at this call.
Okay.
And the thing is that I think we're as close to an understanding as we can, and that is that you've said that you would mostly like to have your view consistent with reality, but you're willing to make exceptions because you don't see the harm in it. And I do. And someday I hope you do.
Yeah.
And I hope the whole world decides to care more about whether or not their view of reality is accurate.
And there are sometimes more things in life that are more important things in life than just feeling good.
Now that said, I certainly don't put you in the category of batshit crazy person who's trying to take over the lives of everybody else.
Yes.
If you were, like I said, I'd have hung up on you 20 minutes ago.
No.
That's not the case at all. And I greatly appreciate the call and the chance to discuss it.
All right, well, nice talking to you guys.
Thanks, Ryan.
Gotta get away from this illusion for the sake of